Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman. Listen, we are doing Unshakable, the outdoor edition, because AT&T is ghetto. I recently had fiber internet installed, and they just decided to suspend my service and tell me that if I wanted my service back, the service that I paid for, that I'd have to re-enroll as if like nothing ever happened. So right now we are with throttled service from my previous provider. But anyway, that is not, let me focus. I'm coming to y'all today. I had planned to do this video from my studio, but I'm out here in the outs enjoying the nature and the bugs and stuff. Have y'all heard about the Black English initiative over in California? I came across this article and I saw a few other content creators cover it, and I said, we've hit the bottom. I've been talking lately about the contempt that white liberals have for Black America, and they are like so low down that now they are so blatantly obvious with their contempt that they don't even hide it anymore. They just play in your face. Okay, so this initiative, it is currently not law in California, but what it is, it's rather, let me be precise. It's rather an advocacy effort led by several educational organizations that are trying to influence California's early childhood education policies. I said, wait a minute. So this is not like some high school elective where we're just kind of playing around with, Black jargon. They want to introduce this Black English as a part of early childhood educational development. I said, well, what is the best way to ruin the babies that are already at the bottom? And I mean, like, us as Americans, Black Americans, we are at the bottom of not just every socioeconomic category that can be measured, but academically, we're at the bottom as well. Culturally, we're at the bottom. Like, we're down bad. And this is the educational early childhood initiative that they want to introduce. So let me tell you about it. First, let's just define our terms. What is Black English? Black English, the advocates who use the term Black English rather than Ebonics or African American vernacular English, they've described it as a rule-governed dialect of English with its own grammatical patterns that developed within the African American community. I don't even know what the African American community is. I mean, are y'all talking about the hood? Can we be a little bit more precise? Can we get a geolocation of what you are referring to? But I'll continue. Now, who is behind this effort? Well, this effort is being led by the Black English Language Workshop. And this is a consortium of individual groups, and I'll name them. You've got the Black Californians United for Early Care and Education. Then you've got Californians Together, Catalyst California, and then Early Edge California. Now, according to the coalition, their goal is to advance language justice for Black children in preschool and early elementary settings. Now, what are they proposing? Among the recommendations discussed in their briefs and webinars are treat Black English as a legitimate home language rather than incorrect English. So your double negatives and you're saying we is going to the store, that is not supposed to be labeled as improper, but rather it is supposed to be considered a legitimate home language, because what better way to usher Black children straight to the bottom of every category that can be measured, particularly academics, than to make them think that their ignorance is going to be not just acceptable in the home, but they need to make it a part of their everyday life, notwithstanding the fact that when they get out in the real world, that people will judge them. Wait a minute. Oh, is the assumption that the young Black child in early childhood education, we are incapable of learning. They're incapable of receiving proper grammatical standards. So therefore, what do? We'll just lower the bar, because this is going to provide an equitable playing field so that they don't feel so bad. Yeah, that's essentially what they're going to argue. Let me continue. It says they want to train teachers not to stigmatize or shame children who speak it. So young children who cannot properly conjugate verbs or have subject noun agreement, the teacher's job is not to educate and correct them. No, don't train them in righteousness, but rather don't stigmatize the Black ignorance. No. Don't make them feel bad for speaking improper English. Just train the teachers not to stigmatize them. I said, y'all really are low down. So here's what else they're proposing. It says, build literacy instruction from the language children already use at home before transitioning to standard English. So forget about breaking bad habits that they're learning at home and teaching them the correct way to do things. Let's patronize them, handicap them some more, and before we transition to what is right, we should just build language literacy using the language they already understand. So let me give an example of this, how this is supposed to work. So when you're teaching them about present tense verbs and past tense verbs, you could probably say something like this. So y'all be needing to turn your books to page 15 because we gonna be learning about them verbs today. That's what we gonna be doing. And boys and girls, it's gonna be real exciting when we teach you about these verbs, because you be needing to learn subject noun verb agreement. Okay, like when you get big and stuff, yeah, you're gonna be able to learn the proper way. But in the meantime, before we be transitioning you and stuff, we gonna be teaching you like this. I guess that's how the lesson is supposed to start. I don't know. Yeah. Then it says, include Black English within broader multilingual and dual language policy discussion. So basically, I guess I would be considered bilingual. I mean, I speak fluent Ignorant. I speak fluent Black English. I speak fluent the American Standard English. I don't know. I'm trilingual. Let them tell it. Here's the deal. Let me explain to you from their perspective why they say this is why the advocates say that this is necessary. They've legitimized why they need to do this. Their argument includes that many Black children are incorrectly viewed as having language deficiencies when they are actually speaking a recognized dialect. So don't identify the fact that a lot of these children are unable to communicate effectively and speak proper English. This is how they're going to artificially improve the standards. They're just going to abandon the standard and say, no, these children do not have inadequate language skills. No, all we did was change the way or the standard of what they are required to learn. So now we can take away the fact that they're deficient. So this is how I'm wondering, is this how they're going to artificially inflate the test scores and inflate the metric or the standard that is used to determine if they're succeeding or not? So they can kind of, I don't know, manipulate these statistics so they can get more funding. I have so many questions on top of the fact that I'm offended by this foolishness. But people who advocate for this, hear me clearly. I've talked to y'all about the contempt that white liberals have for Black America, but it's not just the white liberal. The white liberal, in my opinion, are the ones who are funding these Black coalitions. But these Black coalitions and educators have convinced themselves that if we just, remove the stigma and actually teach these children in the incorrect way that they're already learning, that somehow this is going to be good for them. It says constant correction can negatively affect confidence and identity. Who knew? Who knew that all the times that my mother corrected poor posture, bad behavior, improper ways to deal with and associate with others, that this was somehow affecting my self-esteem and my confidence and my identity. So are these children less Black? When you correct them for speaking improper English, is that now an attack on their humanity? Is this the argument? Y'all, this is the most retarded thing I've ever heard. There is so much more here. There's so much here. But here was the kicker for me. When it said that this could help address longstanding achievement gaps for Black students, I said, yeah, they want us at the bottom. This is not going to address an achievement gap. This actually removes the standards, makes the bar so low that our children will be more ignorant, more unprepared, more culturally shook when they get out into the real world and they recognize that they are unable to assimilate with the rest of society because they've spent more time having their improper grammar and language standards reinforced rather than corrected. Do you really think they're going to be able to go to a job interview and say, I be doing it and stuff, If they say, oh, well, why do you want to work here? Why do you want this job? I mean, because I just be needing it. Like I be needing it, and I do good work, but I just feel I should have this job because something on the inside of me just says that I could do it. Yeah, this is they want to make this mainstream. So I am not shocked. The only part about this story that shocked me is that there are Black educators in California that they're the face of it that's pushing it. But I have reason to believe that there is a Marxist, white liberal somewhere that is really the parent organization that's either funding this or pushing this. This is why I say that you need to home educate your children. You can no longer trust your children in the hands of the local government-run educational school system because you have no idea what is coming down the pipeline. You have no idea the next retarded, brain-dead initiative that's going to come down, that's going to become an official standard, and then you're going to be trying to figure out, why is it that my children can't read? Why is it that my children do not know how to structure a proper sentence? They don't even know what's considered a paragraph. They can't conjugate verbs. They don't know subject noun agreements. They have no concept as to identifying the parts of speech and how they're used in order for them to express a complete thought. This is the most academically damaging, patronizing, and insulting thing that could be introduced in early childhood development that I have ever seen. And it demonstrates to you or to us or to me that they want to keep us at the bottom. They want to ensure that we won't be able to compete so that we become dependent and that you have no hope, and you'll be able to take no initiative in order to improve yourself or your circumstances or your situation. Because it's like, well, I went to school, I got the diploma, I went to go get a job, but I can't get hired. So what else is left for me to do other than to apply for government assistance, apply for government housing, apply for government everything, and basically live my life in subject to the government, because I'm completely handicapped and unable to do anything for myself. This is where this is going to lead. The smokeless war is upon us. Marxism is here, you guys. These people are evil and wicked, and they are coming for your children. And this is why I say home education, you've got to advocate for it. I wouldn't even trust some of these private schools. You need to vet them, because a lot of these private schools are becoming incredibly liberal, and I wouldn't trust them either. But I wanted to cover this just to demonstrate to you guys some of the foolery that's coming out under the radar. And it starts out like this, but eventually it becomes mainstream. And then you start to have politicians someone will lobby a politician to get behind this, and they will try to sell it to the American people as good under racial equity and identity politics, when the whole goal is to stigmatize what is normal and to normalize that which is retarded. Yeah, they just want us to be retarded. But listen, I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Do you think I'm overreacting? Do you think that this can't possibly be real, and some black educators couldn't possibly want to come together and introduce this into the California school system, so that beginning in Head Start and pre-K and kindergarten, and that your children would come home more dumber than they are when they start or when they go in? But I'm curious to know from you. What do you guys think? Leave me your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think that teaching Black English, whatever the heck that is going to be good for the flourishing and the advancement of the colored people? Or do you believe that this is an impediment, and it is absolutely the perfect way to keep Black people at the bottom, to usher them straight into the hand of the Democrat Party, to be the next class of electoral serfs and dependent voters? Whatever it is that you guys think, leave me your thoughts down in the comments box below. And until next time, you guys, stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace.